Welcome back to Angela's Craft Room, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia. I've just come back with the finished Trifold Shutter Card for you. We've already done the base, so if you miss that tutorial, just check on my channel and I'll put the link below for the one so that you can do the actual card base. But for those that saw that tutorial, I did the black as you know, we did all the black panels to start with onto the card, and then as I said, I do recommend that you put your panels on the back of the card as well, because there's so many score marks and cuts with this card. It will make your card a lot more stable if you just take the time to put those back on the back. Now I will just run through those measurements, but I will put them in the comment section. So you need this was like, looking at this is like before I started decorating it. So all these squares, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, they were 1 3/4 inches by 1.5 inches, and you would need 8 of those, 16 if you're going to do one layer on the back as well. Then you have these pieces, 1 2, these pieces, they measure 3 3/4 inches by 1.5 inches, and then your 3 larger pieces that are across the center of your card, they measure 3 3/4 inches by 2 5/8 of an inch. Now that's what our card looked like when I left you before. We'd only just put the top layer on, and then I went away and just did a bit of stamping very quickly, and just so you could see the finished card. Now a good tip is with the panels, there's no wrong or right measurements, it's just what you want. And with those measurements that I'll put in the comments section, they are for the base card, the base black card. And how I get my next layer is I just measure 1 notch back on the ruler or on your trimmer, and then these square pieces in the middle here, they're actually 2 3/4 by 2.5 inches. So I've done a bit of stamp off method. So what I mean by that is I've inked up the tree in full ink. I've stamped it in the middle, and then without re-inking, I've just stamped on each side, so you can see. So it just gives the illusion that there's some trees behind this main one. I did the same thing here with this image from Lovely as a Tree. That's one big image there, and I just, obviously before I do all the stamping before I stick them to the card, but I just stamped the full image across, and then without re-inking, I just saw where the couple of spaces were in between the trees, and I just stamped on there as well, which I'll just show you quickly what I mean. But also I've just added some little trees and just a couple of little sentiments there. But for those that don't know what I mean by stamping off, so I've got my ink pad and I've just stamped up quite well with this. It's quite a deep edged ink stamp, so I'm really inked up quite well. And then all I do is I'd have my cardstock down here, I line it up on the grid paper, and I just do one stamp, lift it, and then you'll see there's a couple of little notches where trees can fit in. So I just, mainly this big space here, without re-inking, I've just stamped straight back down again. And then it gives you I'll just turn that round so you can see. It actually gives you the image, the illusion that there's trees behind the main trees. So it makes it look like there's a few rows of trees. So that's just what I mean by stamping off. And I did that, as I said, I did that for the middle tree and also these trees. And then just one tip, when you're designing your card, when you've got your layers on, before you do too much, just see how your card is going to close. Just see how your card is going to close and what it's going to look like. I usually have it like that, so I've done the long trees there and there, but I wanted to make sure it was going to look all right when I had the card closed. So that's the finished product of the Trifold Shutter Card, and I hope you'll give them a try. They are fun, and every one you do is just so different, and people do appreciate them because it's just they see how much work you've put into them. So that's the Trifold Shutter Card, and just going back on the one that I sponged all the panels, so you can see how different, just by doing one fold, how different the cards can be. So I hope you'll give that a try, and I look forward to seeing you in my next tutorial.